Welcome once again to the Coach Ben Smith Show here on the Bear Network. I'm your host, Gary Ownbey, talking a little bit about Bradley Central Wrestling this week. And Coach, we're going to get caught up on what's happened since our last program. But first, introduce your special guest you brought today.
Sure, yeah. Today I've got team captain, #1 ranked in the state, 113-pound Bryson Terrell. He was a state finalist last year. And currently, like I said, #1 ranked kid in the state at 113 pounds. And defending state runner-up, and man, he's undefeated at this point. I think outside of maybe one match, I think maybe most of his matches have been by pinfall, and so he's had a really dominant year. So I thought, I had a girl last week, had my undefeated girl last week, #1 ranked girl last week. Why not bring in our #1 ranked undefeated young man this week? So that's
well, Bryson, how's it been going with you? Unbeaten at 20-0 there and all that. So man. All those pins, that speaks highly of your ability and your skill there. Have you wrestled a long time? How early did you start wrestling?
I started wrestling about 5th grade and then loved it ever since and done it year in, year out.
Who was your first wrestling coach and where was that at?
It was here. It was with
the Kids
Club. Yes, sir.
Was that with Coach Varnell?
It was Coach Lee Varnell.
Coach Lee Varnell. So you wrestled all the way through Lake Forest, I guess you went to school there?
All the way through Lake Forest with Coach Insminger.
Okay. We didn't ask you what grade are you in here at Bradley now?
I'm a junior.
You're a junior, so we've got you another year after this year. So got a lot of stuff you want to make happen this year, though.
Oh, yeah.
Season's nowhere near over yet for you there. You play any other sports? Is wrestling your passion?
Wrestling's it.
Do you have a problem maintaining 113 pounds?
Nope. Just my diet's pretty good. Work ethic and practices, it's pretty easy now.
What's hard about being in the wrestling program? I mean, the demands are, the expectations are up here as always.
Oh yeah, it's some pressure sometimes knowing that what's expected out of you and that you need to do your job every single time you're on the mat. So
it's nice to have that handheld up there at the end.
It's amazing.
6 times you're the winner.
Sir.
And you've not tasted defeat this year at all. Then
not this year.
I'm sure Coach would look for you to be in that state final again. And
yeah.
maybe get the championship this year.
That's what we're gunning for.
Who's been your toughest match so far?
It was a kid from Indiana this past weekend at the Brentwood tournament. He's an Indiana State medalist, pretty good kid. His name's Evan Singh. So 4-0 match, ended up dominating 4-0, but it was a pretty good match.
Do you like to start in the down position or up or?
I like wrestling on my feet.
Yep.
So I like scoring points. I like putting it on people.
You got a good technique, Coach?
Yeah, he's kind of like me. Every couple years, coaches have kids that they see themselves in a lot, and we try to be close with all of our kids. But, like Coach Sogson told me a long time ago that he plays favorites, and he plays favorites with the ones that work the hardest. You don't have to be the best, but, we're here a lot in the evenings and in the mornings and year-round, and like those guys that we spend the most time with are usually the guys that we end up being close to. And then, every 4 or 5 years you get a kid, maybe once or twice, 3 or 4 times in your coaching career, you get kids that you just, like you see yourself in. A couple years ago, that was TJ Hicks for me. And then Bryson has kind of fallen into that. He's a lightweight, he's a scrappy kid. He wrestles kind of reckless. That's kind of how I wrestled. I wrestled scared.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Or
go either way. I don't know if he's been scored on this year, but sometimes guys that go hard like we do put themselves in positions to be scored upon sometimes. So you give up some points every now and then to get a bunch of points. And his technique. He's really, there's 1 or 2 kids in the entire state, and in my opinion, the entire surrounding area. That are in that level at his weight class. And so he can get away with some of that. But Bryson has Division I next level aspirations. That's why he is a year-round kid. He's a 6 a.m. kid for the most part. He's trying, we've been trying to develop that Division I next level work ethic with him now so that when I start these conversations with Division I and D2 and NAIA coaches, I'm like, look, this kid's already been, he's a 6 a.m. guy. He's a year-round guy. He's been to this national tournament. Not only that, he's disciplined with his sleep schedule. He's disciplined with his nutrition, and he's a great teammate. I just now named him team captain, and it wasn't because his accolades didn't deserve it. It's because I was looking for some off-the-mat, and just inter-team stuff. It was
more than wrestling.
His maturation. Like I felt like there was more. Like I wanted a little bit more, and it had nothing to do with wrestling. But it did have everything to do with wrestling. But,
True.
you know, yeah, he reminds me of me in some ways. He was better than I was, 100%. Most of the kids I wrestle are better, or that I coach are better than I was.
You ever wrestle coach in practice?
We do sometimes.
We dabble. I wrestled a little bit at the Brentwood tournament this weekend. I ran to the venue, which I always get my Saturday run in, and I wrestled around with some of the guys, and I wrestled 5 or 6 different ones of them, and man, my back and neck, like it's like, as good as I feel and as in shape as I am.
You're not in high school anymore,
I'm
Coach.
not in high school. You know, I went from Austin McClure down to Bryson and then back up, and so, you know, I mean, just I felt good, but my neck and my back felt it when I was sledding on Monday with my daughter. So, but he's a wiry guy. Bryson can go. He's a tough kid.
Well, sure does seem like. Since our last program, you had a really, really busy weekend this week. You had 3 teams in 3 different locations.
Yes.
Sort of bring us up to date on what all's happened.
Yeah, so, you know, just very quickly, you know, just to put it in perspective, like the first 2 weeks of January are kind of like our last big push before the postseason. So of the 12 possible days that we've had to compete or practice, that's excluding Sundays, we've competed 8 of those. Wow. So we've had 4 days of practice in the past 2 weeks. But, you know, we started off with, was it Ray County last week? You know, had a decent match with Ray County, did what we were supposed to. Cleveland on Thursday, and then we went right into, we left varsity guys at Brentwood, varsity girls at Franklin, and then our JV travel squad was at a varsity tournament at Halls. You know, I know you want me to talk about it. The Cleveland match didn't go our way. They beat us 50-18. That's hard for those words to even come out of my mouth. But it was a long match. It was a long dual meet. There were a lot of good matches within there. You know, and we left, in the words of one of my friends that I was texting with afterwards, we left a lot of points out there. Now, so did they. I mean, look, they won 10 of the 14 matches. We lost 2 overtime matches. That's anywhere from 6 to 9 point swings. We lost 1 match that we were winning pretty handily at that point. You know, doesn't mean we would have won it, but then we got pinned. You know, we had another match where we were in it. We had another period to close a match where we expected to win. And then it ended up being a default. Kudos to that kid. You know, you reverse those 4 matches, it's 7 matches to 7, and now all of a sudden it's about a 30, somewhere between a 30 to 35. Like it's 1 match. You know, we've got to win 8 matches against Cleveland to beat them because they're going to get some. Like, if we win 7, we better not get pinned. They did a great job of pinning us that night. I'd like to think that we did a good job of helping them in some spots. You know,
how to go the weekend?
So the weekend was great. We went to Wilson Central. I was not a happy Papa Bear Friday, so we tended to shift gears over the weekend, and we still are in a gear shift point. Like, we have got to get back to the point where, like, you know, we're all about transformational, and like you said, there's more to this than just wrestling. But right now, our standard at Bradley Central High School is to win state titles. And what we saw on Thursday, even though we lost to Cleveland, and they're still the Kings until somebody beats them, we can beat that team. And I know I'm whatever, you know, you light me up on Coach T or Facebook, I don't care. You know, we want to beat you, and we think we can beat you. And so we picked up where we left off. We saw Wilson Central, the number 2 ranked team. We're 3rd. We saw them this weekend, and we had a lot of heads-up matches with them. We finished as a tied for 2nd with them behind the modern-day team from Indiana. Our girls crushed it. We got a little sickness going on with the girls. We had 4 girls compete in a 18-team tournament at Franklin, and they got 4th. Had 2 champs, an OW, Gabby that was here last week, OW. And then my travel squad went 2-2 against varsity competition at Halls. So we finally, the snow day, they didn't know this. I was going to give them Monday off anyways and just go, I was going to give them Monday off and go coach the JV. Yeah. But we hit the ground. Kind of an easier practice on Tuesday, an easier practice on Wednesday because we don't compete again until next Thursday. Okay. But today we're back to work.
Well, I was going to ask you, what do you have coming up? Your next schedule, next Thursday, would it be?
So next Thursday,
a week from today.
Yeah, a week from today, we have Region Duels hosted by Ooltewah. They're not in it, but we will have finished 2nd in our district to Cleveland. We're waiting on the winner of the Ray County Walker Valley match. So we'll wrestle the winner of that first to go to the region finals, and then we'll wrestle Cleveland after that. And then the winner of that will automatically be bid to the state tournament. And the loser of that match will have to wrestle a sectional match on Saturday or Monday against Oakland or Blackman. So
in postseason. Now, where will the state be held this year? Last year we had in Chattanooga.
It's all over the place. So the state tournament this year, the one-day state duels, February 9th, is at Williamson County Ag and Expo Center, the Cow Palace. And then the individual state tournament will be back there. I think it's like 24th, 25th, 26th, 16-man bracket over 3 days. So that's where we're at.
Back over there then, huh? Are any surprises on your for you, your staff, that some player or some wrestler has stepped up and said, man, we didn't realize he was going to be able to do what he's doing here, and or a girl even, you know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I could talk about the girls till I'm blue in the face, but sometimes my guys get mad because I'm trying to build them up so much. We're trying to build the girls program legitimately. I mean, we want to offer that opportunity for the next 50 years here. And you know, I've got girls, Coach Blackman got girls, like we want the girls wrestling program here to be established by the time our families get here. You know, so all the girls, you know, Miley Goodwin was a great addition there. You know, she's a stud little volleyball player. She's a fireball. She's she's like the girl version of Bryson that just doesn't know how to wrestle yet. But she's winning. She got a chance at state medal. On the guys' side, we just got Wyatt James back in the lineup. And, man, he beat the number 3 ranked kid from Arlington, put himself in the rankings, and then he won the tournament and beat a defending state champion from Indiana.
Wow.
And he's not even really ready yet. It's sloppy, it's reckless, and I love that. Like, he's just not there yet. Now, he's a state medalist last year, but Wyatt has been a great addition at 120 pounds. And then, you know, we have had a lot of issues at 126 and 132 as far as, like, getting our lineup set. And we have a freshman that didn't even know he was going to wrestle. He's wrestled all through middle school, wasn't sure if he was going to wrestle, played football. He's like us, 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing, but he plays football. And he decided to, you know, I'd heard all summer he wasn't going to wrestle. Well, then he shows up for wrestling. And, man, Kyle Hogg has been in and out of our lineup all year, filling in for, like, literally day of matches, Kyle, I need you. Night before, Kyle, I need you. And, dude, he's wrestled JV matches, travel squad matches, varsity matches. He's placed in 3 varsity tournaments up to this point, unseeded every time. You know,
wow.
He just can't get in the lineup. He can't beat our kids, but our kids can't stay in the lineup. So, you know, if anybody from outside the state is or from the states watching this, yeah, we've had some issues at 126 and 132. Kyle Hogg has lost the challenge matches, but been our starter all year because of just coaching. You know, coaching issues, like things that kids are getting sick, kids are getting hurt, there's death in families, kids are not on weight. But we couldn't have been doing what we've been doing with a freshman that wasn't even going to wrestle. You know, I think he's like 35-7 right now.
Yeah. Wow.
He's a stud. And like you still look at him and you're like, are you sure you want to be here? And like he does, but it's like, you know, Kyle Hogg, like Wyatt James, he goes without saying, but man, I've got to love on Kyle Hogg a little bit earlier because if we would be forfeiting if it wasn't for him. And that's a weight class that we should be 2 or 3 ranked in the state at right now. So,
how many kids are in your program overall? You got a bunch, I know.
We've had some attrition. Nobody's really outright quit. Right before the break, we had we've had a lot of injuries with our backup squad this year. So I think I was counting up on roster today, this morning. We're still around 55. We're 54 kids.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
it's bigger than most schools' football programs.
And next Thursday is the next time you're wrestling. Where will that be at?
Ooltewah.
At Ooltewah. That's a region
duels. For a
and
bid, we win it, automatic bid to the state duels. If we don't, we'll wrestle Blackman or Oakland at Blackman or Oakland and hopefully get to the state duels.
And who will you wrestle Thursday? You know right now who it'll be?
It'll be the winner of Ray, who we've already beat, or Walker Valley. So I'm hoping, well, I'm not going to say that. I'll get me. I'm hoping we wrestle. Yeah.
Well, Coach, as always, we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. And Bryson Terrell, man, 20-0.
Sir.
Can't get any better than that. Number 1 in the state, 113-pound weight class. We need that championship.
We've not had one since 2018. So I don't know if our 106-pounder can win it, but if he gets in the finals, he'll be our first crack at winning an individual. We've got like 67 state titles since 1984. But we've not had one since 2018. It's time to end that. So he'll have our first crack at it if he stays healthy and keeps his head on straight.
It's like he's got a good shot at that.
Oh, yeah.
If I got anything to do with it.
These little guys like him just amaze me.
His mama, I gotta bug her.
Okay.
His mama is not gonna not let me at least put forth my best effort. So she's a wild one. So we gotta if he ain't win it this year, I'm I'm sure I'm in trouble. Yeah, but she's a great mom. Don't get me wrong. But she's a spitfire like he is. So he comes by it honestly.
I didn't ask you. You got brothers and sisters?
I have a little sister that's Ocoee that plays softball.
Okay.
She actually wrestled this past year. I actually won girls state. Got fourth in the boys. This boy beat her up for the third and fourth place match, and she was like, "I'm done."
That's it.
And didn't come back.
Doesn't wrestle anymore.
No wrestling. Yeah.
Scared of it now.
Now, what grade is she in over?
She's a 7th grader.
7th grader.
Yep.
Maybe a couple of years you can talk her into coming out.
I'm hard to say no to.
We're gonna try.
Yeah, you are.
I'm hard to say no to. Yeah.
Can't turn it down.
Can't-
Well, Bryson, thanks for being with us today. Coach Smith, always a pleasure to have you on our program here and everything. I'd like to thank Mr. Shroy's class here, the broadcast class of Bradley Central High School here in Studio H30, H12, and all the kids behind the scenes that you guys don't see, but they make these programs possible for us. Until next time, we'll talk wrestling again next week. This is Gary Oldman saying so long for now. God bless, and go Bears and Bearess.